I get shit done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.
Double, triple, or even quadruple your effectiveness. Really, you can do that. I'm going to share a couple of ideas that have helped me be more effective, and they come from some really terrific authors. I'm going to speak about their books, give you the titles. But before we do that, if you're watching this live, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. And if you're catching us on the replay, hashtag replay, let us know where you're watching in from. And if you would be so kind, find us on our YouTube channel and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated as well. But now I want to give you a shameless plug as to some of the ideas come from this organization that we're going to share with you today. Hi, just got me bouncing, that new tune we've added to that. If you would like to know what your business growth score is, the information's right there. And if you didn't get a chance to capture it, just go to coachphil.ca, and at the top part of the website, there's a button. Click on that. There's no credit card required. And you'll get some insights as to where you feel you are based on the assessment that we have available there for you. Again, that's your business growth score. So double, triple your effectiveness. How can you do that? Is it even possible? Well, yeah, actually it is. And probably even more. But to be on the conservative side, so the no BS meter doesn't kick in for you, let's just stay to doubling your effectiveness. And one of the keys to doing that actually is writing things down. Writing things down. Not just anything, but the things that are relevant and important to you. One of the things that was instrumental for me to be able to become a little bit more effective on a regular basis is to have a reflective thinking journal. I've talked about this on a couple of occasions through the Business Renovator, but all of my clients are introduced to the concept and idea because writing things down is probably one of the hardest things you'll do, hardest work things that you'll do, and very few people actually do it. Some people would say as low as 3%. Write their ideas, thoughts, and think on paper. And thinking on paper is a way to capture your ideas so that they don't vaporize and disappear into the ether net, not the internet, but the ethernet. Even in the internet, you need to write things down and look for things. So transfer that skill that you've developed over that technology and put it in a reflective thinking journal. Now, I'm a big fan, and so are some of the experts, of actually writing it with your hand, with that pen or a pencil, or actually even add colors to that. And the reason for that is it makes connections in our with our neurons in our subconscious mind, and taps into our reticular activating system, which is really a filtering device and helps us create awareness and focus on the things that we deem to be important or threats. So writing things down is being able to never trust your memory, to hanging on to things. Writing them down gets you thinking and helps you recall them. If you were to do it in a reflective thinking journal, there's an added benefit to that because you get in the habit of writing things down on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and then you'll start developing a habit of going back and reviewing it. And what it does is it'll shed some light on the things that are really important for you and the things that are not so important. So you can take them out of your thought process and throw them away. And things that you would like to move to, you can start setting goals and plans and creating hows to get there. It's actually been pretty powerful sort of thing. Brian Tracy in his teachings has shared with us that are affiliated with him, or if you've studied him, or if you're involved with him like we are with Focal Point. We have a 10 goal method. And what you do there is actually take a book like this, a 3-ring binder or a coil binder, and you write your 10 goals every day. Now, you write them from memory. I know that contradicts what I just said, but in this case, what you want to do is not look back to the day before, but write out the goals that you deem to be important for you. And the more you do that, the more concise you'll get in terms of identifying what's really, really important to you. And you'll start to move towards it. T. Harv Eker says that his quote is, where thoughts go, results show. Pardon me, let me get that right. I've said this 1,000 times. Welcome to the human race. It's okay to be human, right? So Harv Eker says, where thoughts go, energy flows and results show. So by purposely writing your 10 goals down on a regular basis, what it does is move you towards what's really important. If you don't know what your major definite purpose is, or your why, or your mission, this personal mission, this could be a great way to do that. And reflective thinking journals add to that another component, because you've got the continuous habit of writing and thinking and deciding what's important for you. And that was one of the keys to increasing your effectiveness, doubling your productivity and your effectiveness. Brian has a really good book. I believe it's one of the, if it's not the top selling book out there on getting more stuff done or time management, it's Eat That Frog. Now you got isn't that interesting? That's pretty cool. The reason that's cool is the main color of the cover is green. So because we're doing this live with green screen technology activated, you're seeing this blended in. See, it's really not, it isn't transparent, it is solid. Eat That Frog, 21 great ways to stop procrastinating. And it's been a game changer. A client of mine, a couple of years, about probably 2018, 2019, he started utilizing some of the things that he picked up from the Eat That Frog training that we delivered for him. And as a result of that, he not only helped himself business-wise, he helped himself with a personal objective. And that was to have a family cottage where they can create memories. So they had the land and they had some trailers and things there. And they wanted to make it more permanent. So they built a cottage. Now the cottage is, some people would be envious to call it their home. But it came from Eat That Frog and writing things down and focusing on it and paying attention to what was really important to him. Another way to get more stuff done is actually to create a list. Not just any old list. This is a list that I was introduced to in a great book called the Checklist Manifesto. And now the author's name is Atul Gawande. Hopefully I've said that right. He is a doctor by profession. And what he found was that he wrote the book Checklist Manifesto because a whole bunch of reasons. And in his book, he talks about 3 particular areas. One was in the healthcare space, how to make the doctor more effective, and not just doctors, nurses, and everybody else involved with our healthcare, making them more effective so that they have less mortality rate. They lower the mortality rates and they increase the effectiveness of providing healthcare services to us. So he talks about that, how it's actually done that. In addition to that, when he was doing his research, he checked in with the construction space. In a construction space, if you can imagine a 30-story high-rise building, and there's different phases and different groups of people and engineers building that particular building, and every stage of it, if you divide it into every 10 floors, that's 3 different groups. So 3 different groups would have 3 different key areas that they would need to be focusing on. So he talks about that in the book on the lower levels of, as if there's 30 stories there at various stages of construction. The lower 10 would be at a different place than the upper 10. So the lower 10 would probably be working on finishing, painting, those kind of things. Whereas the upper 10 on this high rise would be looking at the basics, the framework, and the foundational pieces before they could move and add the finishing touches on. And then the people in the middle would be at a different stage altogether. So each one of them had a checklist of what was important, what needs to get done. And by having a checklist, it creates a safe place to get great results, and you don't miss a step, or at least it minimizes the possibility of it. And this all came out of, as Dr. Atul talks about, the airline business. Well, manufacturers particularly. There was two major players that were building and demonstrating their plane for the U.S. military. And the two companies did their demo flight. And the first flight was the largest capacity, the fastest, the strongest, best engineered plane, except for it had something happened, went crazily wrong, and they crashed. So they didn't get the contract. The details of how that all came about are in the book. I'm kind of paraphrasing it from my own reading of the book. And what they found was that they didn't have a checklist before they started this process. Before that accident, there was no checklist. So now a checklist is second nature. It's just it's a daily occurrence for every flight that takes off, whether it's a private Cessna or if it's a large 747 or anything in between. They have a regiment that they go through. They go through a checklist. The reason for that is they don't rely on their memory. Thank goodness for that, because they've reduced the incidences of accidents, crashes, those sort of things. So I'm not suggesting you're going to crash and burn in your business. What if you created a checklist? What if you started writing things down? What if you had a roadmap like the checklist to make sure that you're doing things in your business and in your life that are important to be done, but maybe we could possibly forget. So where it showed up for me is adding that as a way to make sure that when I'm doing my accounting on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis, I've got all of the check boxes filled with the items I need to report for tax purposes. That's just one area you could do it. You could do a checklist for a trip away. You could do a checklist for, you've got a major goal that you want to go after, and what are the checklist items, steps, or processes that you need to pay attention that are going to help you get there. So think on paper, write things down. Don't trust your memory. Create a checklist. Remember the 10 goal method. Oops, that's backwards. As a coil book, and every day write your goals, top 10 goals every day, without going back and looking at the previous day. You'll be surprised. Some of them will stay the same, and some will totally change. And something we hadn't talked about, and I'll throw that into another Monday Business Renovator info session, and that's quinking, knowing what I now know. But that'll be for another time. If you liked what you were hearing, and I invite you to share it out to people. That would be terrific. And if you know somebody that has a story or a message that you feel is of interest, make the introduction. Happy to have a conversation and get them on to one of our shows when we actually have a guest on. Appreciate that. The last thing I want to leave you with before we say goodbye for today is remember to be wonderful. The you in wonderful is that way because it represents you. Now you are wonderful, so go act like your unique, wonderful self. Till next time, I'm Coach Phil.
I get shit done, I have fun, it's my time.